Hello, this is Wade Jackson, and we're here this evening to tell you a little bit about our life story. And my friend Ricky Gerard will be kind of conducting the interview.
We uh we want to welcome everybody out there from Facebook, Twitter, wherever you're at, and also want to say a special thanks out there to Jerry Mack and everybody out there on CMP out there. And me and Wade, we've been busy all day, hadn't we?
Oh, yeah, just
Yeah, and
almost like a
we've
mama
been
cat with a whole bunch of kittens. I tell
doing videos and everything else.
you.
But but anyway, if you'd like to call in and talk to us, we're on it. If you'd like to call in and talk to Wade or something, call 731 438 438 3865. I'll get it right. But but Wade, tell us a little bit. I read the article you had on your mother, and where you she stated in there, she wasn't a real rich person, was she?
No, we were we were pretty ordinarily poor,
Yeah,
and she had only had about a third grade education, but still she was quite a master at handling the family,
yeah.
and she had so many roles that she played for us.
Back then people had to work, didn't they?
Uh,
They had to work back then.
oh, everybody
Uh,
had to work. It was if you didn't work, you didn't eat.
yeah, and just but I mean, even the old country music singers. I heard some of your records. I couldn't tell the difference between you and Stonewall. I said, Lord, I said, Wade sound just like his brother. And I guess the Lord blessed you in that way. But you talk about your mother there. I seen where she would sew your clothes and do this and that, wouldn't she?
Yeah, we've always tried to include Stonewall in our advertisement and so forth. Even when I was entertaining the troops and for about 18 years in the military service, that was the latter part of my
Right,
tour
right,
of my career in the military. I
right.
retired back in '66.
You retired in '66.
Yeah,
I seen where your father had died in 1930 something, wasn't it?
yeah, just
Uh,
about 34, I
yeah,
think.
about 34. Left your mama with what, 4 kids or something like that?
Three little boys, and
Yeah,
and she wrote up a little note. What do you call a little composition book?
yeah,
And she turned it over to me because she figured that if anybody would to do anything about it, to tell her stories,
yeah.
I probably would. And you know, uh, Ricky, I didn't have to, even with just a third grade education
Right, right.
uh, that she had, I didn't have to correct anything hardly except maybe one or
She
two little misspelled words
she
and a
was
little bit of
still,
punctuation.
yeah, and she learned all this during her lifetime.
Oh, she
She
was.
learned. She learned. That's the way the older people used to do. Some of them couldn't go to school because they had to work to make a living. And they didn't have time to go to school. Maybe you had crops in the fields had to get out and all that stuff. Wade and it's like your mother. I seen where it said in there that she was making Stonewall in a coat for winter out of an old what was it, a flour sack,
No, it was an old
toe sack or something?
an old army blanket that
Oh,
somebody had
army
left
blanket.
there, and
Yeah,
it had holes in it and so forth.
yeah.
And
Well,
Mama, she cut out the uh, the little bad parts of
yeah,
the
the bad
blanket and just
parts.
used the
Yeah,
good part. And mother was real. She was real industrious that way.
right,
She had an
right.
old Singer pedal machine. You had to
Yeah,
pedal
those.
that
Yeah,
thing.
that you had to paddle it. Yeah, that was a kind that you had to have pretty strong leg muscles
Oh
to
yeah.
do any sewing on
Oh,
it.
we wore a lot of flour sack shirts too. That flour was in them flour sacks. It had that
Uh-huh.
pretty little print
Yeah,
on
them little
them.
flour
Look,
sacks.
yeah, you look. Yeah, a lot of other kids in the
Yeah,
class had
yeah.
one of the same color.
Yeah, well, that's true. But times back in though was really good though, wasn't it?
Yeah, it really was. In fact, in fact, even the sales tax didn't start until
Yeah,
back
he
in
didn't.
about
Well, he didn't
19.
have no sales tax, did he? That's one good thing about it. But when you started to write that song, "Don't Be Angry with Me, Darling," what was on your mind? I mean, tell the story to all the audiences out there that we got and people out there watching the program, and tell a little something about it. You know, really what inspired you to write it. You
Well,
know.
it's sort of the aftermath of quite a misunderstanding, and I was trying to protect somebody's reputation, actually,
Right,
really,
right.
and and then there was a big disappointing disagreement about that, and and then the next evening after that, I went out with some of my buddies and all. We went to a little cafe where we
Yeah,
go get some little refreshments and all, and all the rest of them just went on to the back end of the cafe and sat down together. And I stopped just inside the door to a booth just inside the door, and I ordered what I wanted, and the waitress brought it, and I asked her. I told her, I said, "Why don't you just bring me a piece of paper and a pencil? I think I'll write a song."
there you
And
go.
I'd never written a song before, and
Well,
she
you wrote good in that
yeah,
time.
then
Yeah.
I just started writing, and it and about as fast as the words could come to me,
But you
I
know, the
wrote them
Lord
down.
blessed you though. He blessed you with that song. You
I
know.
think the song wrote
Yeah.
itself.
And you know, I want to remind everybody out there too what we've been doing today. Wade's got a brand new video out, and it's called "Wild Wild Winds," and you want to see it? It's on Facebook right now. And it's for all the mothers out there on Mother's Day. We're going to send it out to all the mamas out there because everybody's got a mama. Do you know it, Wade?
Mamas are special.
That's right. That's right. And we're going to send it out to all the mamas out there tonight. And we hope that you're watching the program. And all my Facebook friends, I want to say God bless you. I will love you. And we want to invite you to call us. Give us a call here anytime. Call us 731-438-3865. And you can talk to Wade tonight. He'll be here for a little while if you want to call after the program's over. Then give us a call at 731-438-3865. And he'll be glad. He might even write you a song. You know, it might be a number one hit, you know. But but Wade, what was about the funniest thing that you ever done out on the road when you was out on the road?
Well, there's quite a few of them. That one of them was that when Red Savine and I were playing some shows down in Florida, down what Vero Beach and
Yeah,
down that area, and we were on the way back, and Red loved to get up and to start back home.
yeah,
After we
yeah,
played the show, he'd love to get up about 4 o'clock in the morning. We'd drink some of that motel coffee,
yeah.
and we'd be by the time of daylight, we were about 100 miles toward where we was going to
Uh huh.
go, and we stopped just south of the Georgia Florida line
Yeah,
in a big place there, that nice restaurant, and of course it had to be a good one because a lot of truckers
yeah.
come in there,
Right.
and I ordered what I wanted, and so did he, and I told Red, I said, I wish I could get some good old red eye gravy to go on my, my,
Right.
my
Right.
breakfast, and he said, Wade, you can't get red eye gravy at a restaurant. I said, watch me. And
Yeah.
he don't ever
Well,
tell an old hillbilly that he
you
can't
can't
do
tell a
that.
hillbilly he can't have red out gravy, is
Yeah,
it? Can he?
and I got to ask the
I guess
waitress
we's
if
all a lot of us was growing up and raised on that stuff. You know, everybody knows what red eye
yeah.
gravy was. You know, back when I was growing up.
I asked
Uh,
the waitress if who was cooking, and she told me, said, well, this lady's some lady back there, back in her 40s, and she's got a whole house full of kids. And I
yeah.
said, that's the lady to talk to. I said, tell her this old country boy was just come from just north of
Yeah.
the Florida line,
Mm-hmm.
and I'd really appreciate some.
Yeah.
So to the lady, she brought it, and I put some red eye gravy on my breakfast, and Red just sitting there just looking. And
Yeah.
I'm eating my breakfast. I didn't think to pass it to him.
Yeah.
Because he told me you couldn't get it.
Yeah. He's
And
the one told you
and then
couldn't
after a
get it.
while, he said, "Wade," I said, "What?" He said, "Will you please pass the red eye gravy?"
Yeah, he was wanting some himself, wasn't he?
Yeah.
But you know, you was telling me one time you and him was out and coming home real late at night, and it come up a cloud. You know, it was raining like everything. You know, and you were getting tired and sleepy. You know, and and he looked over at you, I think, and he said, "Do you want me to drive?" You know, and he couldn't see. He'd be lucky to see out in front see the hood on the car. You know, but anyway, you go through a lot of things like that whenever you're out on the road. You know, and like Wade is, he wrote more songs than "Don't Be Angry with Me, Darling." Now, how many songs do you think you've total or writing in your lifetime?
Oh, I don't know, but for years I've been writing about maybe one or two a day.
One or two a day?
Sometimes I like to take a few days off if I get busy
Yeah,
with
if
something
you get
else.
busy, yeah. Especially if you're doing videos like we done today, you ain't got time to write.
Oh,
We had, and also I want to mention about Carolyn, your wife. She's in the video too, ain't she?
oh yeah.
Yeah, and,
Yeah, I think she's proud to.
and I was trying to get him out of the doghouse, so I made him give her some bouquet of roses, and he got out of the doghouse, and she let him come out tonight. Uh,
She was happy too that her car even got into the video.
Yeah, her car and everything was in there. You know, I made sure I included her. You know, because that's what we want to do on this program here is include everybody out there watching out there. We're we're all God's children, and you know, and we put our britches on like everybody else. You know, we don't think we're no better than anybody else. Don't even want to be no better than anybody else. But but you know, we wanted to dedicate this video that's going out to Facebook and everywhere right now to all the mothers out there, and wish you all a happy Mother's Day, and
Happy Mother's Day.
we hope that you know you see another next year. You know, there might be some mothers out there that's probably not going to see it. What year did your mother die in, Wade?
It's been about 15 years ago.
About 15 years ago.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you miss them. You miss them terribly, but it seems like as close as we were, there's always part of her still here.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
And you know, you're looking at a man that was born in what 1929, right?
Yeah.
1929, he was born, and he's still going today. He's still going strong, and you know, that goes to show you what the Lord can do. He can do all things, you know. And Wade, when you was running around with Red Savine and he done, I know he done Teddy Bear. He had to do Teddy Bear for all the truckers out there, you know. And y'all was going different places in, wasn't you?
Yeah. Well, Red, when he cut this Phantom 309.
Yeah, Phantom
That's the
309.
same date that the same sessions with Tommy Hill producing them for Star Day.
Yeah.
Red incidentally helped me get or got my contract for me for Star Day.
Oh, did he?
So I
Yeah.
got started really.
Yeah.
And I told him, I said, man, you got yourself a hit, Red. He said, man,
Yeah.
you can't tell if it's a hit, Wade, just to hear it recorded. I said, when I get that feeling up down the back of my spine,
Back of your spine, you know it's a hit. Right. Yeah. And you know, if you got any tips or anything about writing songs, you know, really, I guess the best thing you can do if it comes to you, write it down. You know.
Oh yeah.
And I'm gonna let you recite one of them little poems that you done last night. That poem, you remember what it was that you done? It's something about I can't even remember what it was now, Wade. But
Well, the first one I'd like to do to dedicate to all the mothers
you may have to.
and the ones that try to instill a little bit of good morality in us as we grow up is a little thing that I learned from my uh, what do you call it?
Grandpa,
School teacher. You
school
know,
teacher.
like the
Okay.
fifth or sixth
Yeah.
grade. It said, "I have to live with myself, and so I'd like to be fitting for myself to know. I don't want to just let my world and life go by. I want to be able to look myself straight in the eye. And in the battle for fame and wealth, I want to be able to like myself. I don't want to stand with the setting sun and hate myself for things I've done. And whatever happens, I want to be self respecting and conscience free." And that's some of the best advice.
Right. Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Mama, she was our
Yeah.
music and
Oh,
entertainment.
she's
She
a
sung songs
yeah.
to
She
us, and
sung songs.
we
That's where
learned
y'all
most of them. That
you really inherited. It come off your mama's side.
Oh
Then.
yeah,
Yeah.
she had a
Yeah.
beautiful
Did your
voice.
daddy ever play a guitar?
I don't think he ever had time.
He
He was
never had time. He had to work.
he drove a train.
Oh, he drove a
Yeah,
train.
and there's one. The engine is parked in Albany, Georgia, for the little
Okay.
kids to go into. There was a
And
little,
you was born where at?
there
Where
was
was you
one.
born at?
Oh, me?
You was born in Georgia,
No,
North Carolina.
I don't remember where they said he was born at, but I was born in
I think
Marion,
he
South
said that
Carolina.
he was born. I think your mama said he was born in North
Miss
Carolina
Caldwell was
somewhere.
born about 3 miles north of Tabor City.
Yeah, yeah, somewhere over there. Uh, but you know, you was talking about what other entertainers did you ever run around with? Mutt? Did you run around with some more big stars? You know, like
Oh, yeah,
Red Savine and all of them.
I, 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 I've had one of the most exciting privileges, I
Right,
guess,
right.
that any man could be fortunate enough to do. And I know somebody must have been praying for me.
Here you can have.
Yeah, is this all right?
Yeah,
Oh, it's working,
yeah,
I
it's working.
guess.
Yeah, it's working.
And but Red, he started taking me with him. You know when
Yeah, he.
his eyes were failing,
Yeah, his eyes was
and
getting
he
bad.
put me on the show and on his show, and he'd have me go out and get me with the old fiddle, you know, and warm him up and
Right,
do a song,
right,
and then
right.
bring him on.
Hmm.
And he he was a wonderful showman. I mean,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
he just salt to the earth, lovable
I bet you
fellow.
and him was hard to beat though when y'all put on a show. I bet y'all put on a show, didn't he?
Oh, you never did have to worry about Red. He could handle his on the end of
He'd
the
handle
show.
his end, wouldn't he?
Oh,
Yeah.
and every time he told any old joke, and even no matter how many times I'd heard it, it was still just as funny as I heard it the
Yeah.
first
Yeah.
time.
What's a funny joke you can tell us tonight?
Oh, well, I don't know. I'm afraid to do too much comedy.
Oh, you don't want to do too much? Okay. All right. But we want to remind everybody you can and I got Wade's card right here. And if you'd like to write Wade, you get your pencil and paper out here in a few minutes. I'll give you time to go get it and get you a pencil and paper, and I'll give you Wade's address, and you can write him a letter, and he'll write you back if he knows how to write. You know how to write, don't you, Wade?
Yeah, and if they write or
Yeah.
or call or whatever, just leave your phone number and
Yeah.
your address and maybe a short message. And,
Yeah.
and then we try to set aside a block of time to bring
Sure.
that up, you know, because we
You know,
when you start moving on things, it seems like things been happening pretty fast here.
you know, in the music business, I talked to a lady the other day, and she was talking to me, and he's talking about the music business, and the biggest part of it is all just a fantasy world, ain't it? I mean, just more or less, it's a dream, you know. A lot of people's got dreams, you know. We have to follow out their dreams, don't we, Wade?
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure you had a dream when you wrote that song. You dreamed that maybe this might be the one, you know. This is going to be the big hits, you know. And dreams sometimes, you know, come true. because they come true for Wade and put him in the place where he's at, and it can do you the same way. And you've got how many songs on that CD you got?
That's just the first CD, the Daddy's Baby Girl
Yeah.
CD. I think there's 12 on it.
Yeah,
And on
and
this
that's
other
a
one,
real
I think
pretty song, Daddy's Baby Girl, and
And
that's
the
a
other
real
one, I think
pretty
it's
song.
about 8 or 10.
Yeah, about 8 or 10, something around there. But if you'd like to have one of Wade's CDs, if you'll get you a pencil and a piece of paper and write this down right here. It says, write to 380 Maple Street, number 755, Gallington, Tennessee, 37066. And they can write you if they want to buy one of your CDs. And I guarantee you, when you buy one, you won't be sorry of it because you're going to love it. And, and like I said, he's got Daddy's Baby Girl. He's got Don't Be Angry with Me Darling. He got Sipping on the Sun. He got,
We intend to have a real funny video too.
right.
If they want just
Yeah.
It's,
Get a real funny video on Sipping
yeah.
on the Sun or
Of course,
something.
you have to get Kleenex
Yeah.
to watch it because
Yeah,
they'll laugh
yeah.
till you cry.
Right. You probably laugh until you go to crying, won't you?
Yeah.
But talking about Wade right here on television in front of everybody, then he's a legend in his own time, and it's always good, to have somebody that's been there and done it, and he's I remember Charlie Lubin told me one time, Wade, that he said, I said, it's all a dream. He said, it's just a dream, because Charlie's been there. He's been always at the top. He's just like you and everybody else up there in Nashville. They've been up there, but staying on top of that mountain all the time is a hard part, and it's always it's like Daddy always said, whatever goes up on top of the mountain is going to come back down one of these days,
And there's other guys that's climbing up that mountain.
Yeah,
Have a lot of talent.
right.
Too.
And you might get on top there one day, but one day it's going to come a day that you're going to have to come back down off the mountain, and these things sometimes people don't plan on it. When you get on top of the mountain, Wade, it seems like you want to stay there. You ain't never going to come down.
Somebody told me something real profound one time. He said, "And don't ever step on anybody else
No,
while you're going up, because
Why
you
you
might
going
meet
up?
him when you're
when
down
you're coming down.
going up."
That's right. That's true. And it's I'm gonna get Charles up here. He's gonna talk to you just a minute. You can hear him. Yeah, he.
Oh, there you
Yeah.
go. Well, these things
Come
look so
over here,
much like an ice cream cone. I might want
We're gonna
to
let
just chew on
Charles go ahead and interview you here for a few minutes, and we want you to call out there on Facebook, Twitter, wherever we at. Call this number 731-438-3865, and you can talk to Wade here right after we go off there. If you want to write this number down, it's 731-438-3865, and write it down. And Wade will be glad to talk to you. And before he goes home, I may get him to write me a hit song. You see, he may be here for a while trying to write me one, but anyway, we don't want to forget about Jerry Mack and the CPM. I think it's CMP, ain't it? And radio. We tune in sometimes. I think it's Monday. What was it? Monday, Wednesday, Mondays, Tuesdays, and Thursdays, or Fridays, or something like that. But Jerry Mack's gonna kill me. But I know it's on Monday night, folks, and I know it's on Friday night, but I can't remember what's in the middle. Wait.
That's how busy I get too.
Yeah, and but anyway, we want to say God bless you. We love you out there. I'm going to turn Charles loose right here. He's going to ask Wade a few questions. They may be a little crazy, sure enough. We're going to work him over good tonight. Here you go, Charles. ahead and tell something.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen who tuned in tonight. My name is Charlie Edwards Cooper. And I just got a few calls a while ago from Forest City, Arkansas, and up in Nashville, a few other places, some of our friends, and say, you mean you got the privilege of getting to see and meet the legend? I said, you better believe it. Been with him all day and just loved every minute of it. And it really is a privilege. We appreciate you. Always will. Uh, A lot of them asked how old you was. I said he's an old legend. That's all that matters. He's been here a long time, and we hope he'll be here another century.
A lot of my friends used to say, well, they unloaded old Wade off the ark.
Oh, is that right? Yeah. Well, he's been telling me some stories today. Unreal. I mean, I've enjoyed every minute of it today. We've had dinner today and shared some experiences, and just been a pleasure to get to know you. I remember when I was a kid, I always wanted to meet you. It finally happened.
Well, I'm glad to meet you too.
Thank you.
You've got quite a history yourself there.
Well, if somebody tells me I do, I try to keep a low profile. Thanks to Ricky in broadcasting here, that we've got to meet a lot of the stars at Nashville, and we try to help anyone we can that wants to be recognized. And you're a great help to us by showing up here, spending your time and your effort here. And we love your singing and your songs. We hope you get to come back real soon and spend some more time with us and bring some of your other friends. And Gene Jumper, if you're out there, you said you're going to be listening and all that. Here's the legend, Wade Jackson. He's the one of a kind. And we really appreciate you. Stay tuned. You'll be able to see some of his. Yeah, we're going to play his video in a minute here, a few minutes there. And you'll love his video for Mother's Day. Met his lovely wife. She's an angel. And you'll love hearing and seeing what you're going to see. And he's got some more good songs coming up here. And we've all had the privilege of getting to put them out there for him to keep him going here. And I don't know, just a lot to say, Wade. I'll let you do a little talking there. Tell me what's on your mind right now.
But what now?
What's on your mind right now?
Well, I was just thinking about when he asked about one of the funniest things.
Yeah.
I used to when I was traveling with the Duke of Paducah and the Grand Ole Opry Road shows, Red Savine and George.
Oh,
Morgan
yeah,
and
the great ones.
Grandpa Jones, a whole long line of stars there. And
Okay.
I had a habit, which they had me assigned to do what they call the opening act. Just come out there with my old fiddle,
Yeah.
and I always liked to run to that stage, and get on as quick as I could.
Yeah.
And the one time we were playing this big fairground, and they had our preparation room just out off to the side, and you had to go up a cattle chute to go out to
A cattle chute.
yeah,
Really?
and it was a covered one, covered over.
Back in the old days.
I
wasn't
was right. The cow. They figured cows going to fly your way, But anyway, when I got out to the end of it, I hadn't scouted it out ahead of time. See,
Yeah.
because I'm backstage talking to everybody and running my mouth and wasn't paying attention, and I got out to the end of that old cattle chute, and I thought, well, the stage must be right there, so I just jumped right straight up and go into the air, and then come down playing the fiddle and just hand me into my
Was
electric fiddle
everybody
cord.
watching you do this?
Yeah, and I flew out that thing, and I looked down, and the ground was way down there, and so I landed on my feet, and my weight, I was a little heavier then than I am now,
Yeah.
and so I just done a paratrooper roll, and
Wow.
and then rolled onto the stage, and I stood up and handed my fiddle cord, to the guitar man. He plugged it into his
I wish I could
amplifier.
have been there. Seen that.
And then I stepped up to that microphone, just all in one movement, just about it. And so I started playing, and about that was that was the funniest thing that happened on that show that night.
Yeah, well, you got some great stories. I know we was talking about earlier. You've been to Korea, you a vet, and you tell me some stories about it. Of course, I've been over too myself, so we got a lot to talk about the being a veteran, and so you got a lot of history behind you.
Yeah, we sitting there talking foxhole stories.
Oh yeah, we exchanging stories with me. Yeah,
Yeah, you never tell you about the old general. He comes up, and he's asking everybody, "Are you getting enough to eat?" And everybody holler, "Yeah, yeah, yeah." They're happy because the general come up,
yeah.
And the general asked this little private. He said, "Private said, how do you stay so neat and everything, and so dry when it's raining and all up here, and all you have is a foxhole?" He said, "Sir, we improvise and adapt and overcome like the sergeant told us to in basic training." He said, "What do you mean by that?"
Mhm.
He said, "Well, what we do, sir, we just dig a separate foxhole about a foot away from ours. And then when it goes to raining and storming and all, we just turn that one upside down over the one we had, and we stay dry as a bone."
Yeah, that's a great story. Now you entertained a lot of the troops as time went on. Several uh, locations. What were some of the locations that you entertained at when you was in service?
Some of the old what?
Some of the services that you did was over
Was
in
it songs?
yeah.
Oh, well, the troops, they loved an old thing that I wrote called Crazy War.
Crazy War.
Yeah, that I'll just give some of the words to it. Said, and but it was kind of like it's kind of like what Red Savine said about the first day that he was drafted.
Mhm.
He said there was, I think there was 7 of us left our hometown that morning, and on a great big old bus. It was me and 6 of the biggest MPs you ever seen.
My goodness.
So I don't think he was volunteering to go, but he was so funny. But anyway, they the boys they loved that thing called Crazy War. It's about said overseas in South Korea they had that crazy war. One that somebody had been a wanting, they'd been begging for that crazy war.
Yeah.
Said the old sheriff, come and got me one day and said, "Come with me, my son. It's time you quit hauling moonshine. It's time you carried a gun in that war, that crazy war."
Yeah, I hear
And
that. Yes,
then
sir.
he said, "We got out to the firing range and I heard the bullets sing. Shot and fired the whole day through and couldn't hit a thing in that war, but old Maggie's war." and, and,
Wow.
and all in all, it said, and the general asked me why I run when he seen me hurry by. I said, "Sir, the reason I'm running is cause you not hit I can't fly in that war, that crazy war."
Name some of the stars that you've been singing with and around at that time.
Oh,
I know you got a list of them.
I remember back then, uh, one that came over there and entertained us was uh, Jimmy Wakely was in the band,
Yeah.
you know,
Hmm.
and Elton Britt
Hmm.
came to Korea and entertained the troops while we were
Yeah.
there, and then of course that made me real proud, that these guys thought enough of us to come over and entertain us, and especially Bob Hope. Bob
Yeah.
Hope came and
Obama.
visited us when I was in the hospital in Osaka, Japan.
Yeah.
I got I got hit a little bit in the side, and well, there was one big piece they had to get out of my backside, and my buddies asked me which way I was going. I said the only sensible way to go. but but I
Yeah.
was back there. Oh, and while I was in there in that hospital, they gave us a Class A pass. We could go to town. They wanted us to be active as much as we could so they could get us back to combat.
Right.
And so I went down to uh, what they call the International Cabaret. That thing had that International Cabaret written across it, and the letters must have been 10 feet tall each.
Wow.
And it was a dancing place where the guys would buy a book of tickets,
Yeah.
and then when he left to going back to combat, you know, whoever his favorite dance partner was, he just give her the things and let her cash them in, you know, like she'd danced with them all, you know,
Yeah.
and they were tuning up on the stage one evening, and I come in there on crutches, and they had a fiddle up there, and they had a piano player and a drummer, you know,
Of course,
and
that's probably playing
yeah,
them old songs back in the 40s, then, wasn't he?
no, that was back in
In
1951,
51, okay.
and I went up and made motions. I couldn't speak very much Japanese at the time,
Yeah.
and we, I went there and I asked them if I could come up and play one on the fiddle. They helped me to get on the stage and set me down and treated me like royalty and put the microphone down where I could sit down and hold it, you know.
Yeah.
And I used to play that old fiddle, hanging just settle it in my arm and just get it on, you know.
Right.
And at the time I didn't know about three or four old country music hoedowns, and those guys that was in there hadn't heard any American music in ages. There was no such a thing as
Billy been riled up quite a bit.
yeah.
Now.
You remember we couldn't get country music overseas
Yeah, that's
until
true.
maybe quite a few years after that.
Yeah.
And so I showered down on some crazy tune, maybe like Boil Them Cabbage Down or something,
Yeah.
and the place it virtually exploded. That there was everybody jumping up and down and dancing on the tables and everything. And the guy that run the place, he come over and got a bunch of them, about four of them dancing girls, and told them to take charge of me and watch over me. You know, don't make sure I don't get hurt.
Right.
They treated me like I was American national treasure.
Made you feel 10 foot tall, right? Well, this story is you telling you got to.
And the next day or so, I was back in the foxhole.
Yeah, I hear that. Don't blame me for that. You got some more country stars that you was talking about today over in Nashville that's passed on, and you outlived all of them, and that's a miracle.
One of the most beautiful things that was told to me was by Len Owsley. He's a steel guitar player who's just been recently put in the Hall of Fame of steel guitar players.
Yeah.
He told me that he was in charge of seating everybody at the bunch of stars together, about 40 or 50 of them at a place in Shoney's, you know, the big dinner for them, honored them.
Yeah.
And he said he looked around and Grandpa Jones looked like was the oldest
Oldest
there.
one at that time.
Yeah.
Okay.
And he said to him, Grandpa, would you mind asking the blessing to, you know, he said, no, I'd be honored to. And so everybody bowed their heads and said, got real still. And about 45 seconds passed and nobody said a word.
Real quiet.
Everybody just down their heads waiting. And finally, old Grandpa said, well, I know his name just as good as I know my own.
He tried to think of his name. Huh?
Oh
my goodness.
The truth is stranger than fiction.
Yeah, I hear you. Wow. How about Jim Reeves now? You mentioned something about him today. You got to spend a little time with Jim Reeves. And, how was that? I always liked his music too. I heard he at one time he was a lawman. And visited his house he used to live in over in Nashville. Thought it was really nice. Oh, you got the video? Oh, yeah, Don. Yeah. Well, you'll get to see that probably here pretty soon too. You know, well, they're wonderful singers, man. I'm glad you brought them down here. They're gonna be our next stars, I believe, pretty soon here.
Jim Reeves. He came to the NCO club at Rhine, Maine, where I was stationed at just before I retired.
Yeah.
Well, that's where I retired from, really. And he was there one night, and they had the Anita Kerr singers, and what do you call it? Cher and Sonny.
Oh, really? You
And,
got to
Oh yeah,
see them there.
it was a kind of a blowout thing, you know, that when the NCO club had made a bunch of money, and
Yeah.
they either had to turn it into central base funds or or spend it on entertainment.
Mhm.
So yeah, they'd usually just spend it on the troops if they could, and that was. But he was there. I think Roy Clark.
Roy Clark was there
Yeah,
too.
yeah.
Wow.
I've known Roy for years. And,
Have you really?
yeah.
You know them all for a long period of
Oh, I
time. You
kept bumping
lucky.
into him with my bands
You're
overseas
so
there in
lucky to be
Germany.
able to run with them.
Yeah, Roy Dresky played a lot over there too.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, and he's a fine entertainer. And, in fact, Roy Dresky, I seen him several times when me and my band were playing the NCO club in Worms, Germany.
Yeah.
Now that Worms, I think it has to do with an ironworks. It
Yeah.
don't have anything to do about something a creepy crawler, you know. And, but we that's it. That NCO club was the one that they booked me and my band, and they booked Stonewall the same day, the
Mhm.
same afternoon. I believe on Sunday afternoon or Saturday
Mhm.
afternoon, and we uh, they uh, they generally they'd send other troops, you know, from
Yeah.
the states and all. But since I had the String Kings there, nobody needed to worry about backup because
You had it.
the Kings took care of business.
I hear
But
that.
Stonewall come up to when it come time for his show, he's come up and just walked right up to the stage, and then we got up there and we done
Wow.
Don't Be Angry Together.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, you got to hear the legend here. Uh, since you couldn't meet him in person, you can listen, you can hear him and see him on TV here. And we appreciate you tuning in. We're running a little time short here, I believe. And stay tuned. We got some live entertainment coming up a little bit later here tonight and rest of the week, probably Saturday night. And I don't know about Mother's Day. Everybody probably at Mother's Day tomorrow, uh, respecting their mother. And we appreciate you tuning in. Stay tuned. And if you want to get in touch, call the number. It's on the screen there. And he'd be glad to talk to you live tonight if you want to call tonight. Uh, 438 0527 is one of the numbers you can call if you'd like to say hello the way. And yeah, and then what's the other number we got over? 438 3665 3865. There you go. And it's been a long day for us, hasn't it? Been a little bit hot today, but we made it. And I guess he get ready to cut us off here and trying to do some music on here, Wade. And like I say, appreciate you being here. It's been a pleasure knowing you and meeting you. We hope we continue to work with you and you have a long life to live ahead. And ladies and gentlemen, stay tuned. Until then, may God bless you and keep you.
And happy Mother's
And
Day.
happy Mother's Day. Thank you.